pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, everybody get a chance to read the minutes?
Yes.
Motion to approve is distributed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I'd like to note I'll abstain.
Mr. Wolfer abstains.
First case.
Go ahead.
Alrighty, we have, the first case tonight is 5-20-A. The applicant is Doug and Catherine Adams, located at 1323 Old State Route 74, and it is a conditional use staff report. The applicant is requesting that the Union Township Board of Zoning Appeals grant conditional use through sections 442.1-2 A through I of the zoning resolution in order to allow for a commercial business to operate in an accessory building in the R1 Single Family Residential District. Section 442.1-2 A through I would give authorization for the woodworking operation to be conducted on an R1 Single Family Residential lot. Location of the subject property, it consists of 1 acre and is located on the corner of Old State Route 74 and Old Depot Road in the northeastern quadrant of Union Township. Some background information: the applicants have submitted 2 applications, one for a conditional use and the second for a variance on the subject property. In case number 5-20-A, the applicants request conditional use approval to allow for the operation of a home woodworking business. Business operations would be limited to the inside of the proposed accessory building indicated in case number 6-20-A, with the only employees being the homeowners. As stated by the applicants, there will be limited visits from clients. The subject property has been R1 since the institution of zoning, with the detached garage permitted in 1995 at 672 square feet. After reviewing the proposed variance request submitted by the applicant, the following observations can be made. The subject property sits on Old State Route 74 with adjoining properties being zoned R1 single family. The property is larger in size with nearly 1 acre compared to the minimum 20,000 square feet. The owners wish to operate the woodworking shop in the proposed garage, stating that there would be limited effects on the neighboring properties. Concerns with noise are still relevant as to what dust collection systems are put into place as code addresses noise issues in section 720.5. The applicants described no outdoor storage. Any proposed restrictions this should be include any commercial vehicles or trucks on the property. Any signage shall be limited to a nameplate located on the detached building with no freestanding signage. Driveway shall be paved prior to occupation of the building unless variance is granted in case 620-A. The proposed conditional use of the woodworking operation may well exceed the limit of a home occupation based on the intensity of the use in the surrounding residential areas. In regards to sections 442.1 through 2A through I, the following can be found. All adjacent properties are zoned R1 single family with this proposed conditional use containing commercial use operations. The proposed conditional use does not appear within the use established under the provisions of the zoning resolution in the R1 district. As a woodworking operation, it would be required in the B1 business district. The surrounding properties consist of single-family housing with the proposed conditional use establishing an operation not otherwise permitted within the underlying zoning district. The proposed building to house the operation is almost double in the allowable square footage of an accessory structure in the R1 single-family district. Operation of the woodworking business in the R1 may cause disturbance to the neighboring property as this use is not permitted within the zoning district. The proposed conditional use will have little effect to the public facilities and services that would adequately serve it. There would be little to no public cost for public facilities and services if this conditional use would be approved. Concerns with a commercial operation in a single-family district may cause a disturbance to the neighborhood. Those stated by the applicants that measures would be taken to reduce noise, dust, and other factors associated with production. There is little or no way to regulate the stated claims. The surrounding properties may be impacted with a use designated outside of their zoning district. Automobile approach to the subject property does not appear to have any effect to traffic or public thoroughfares, and there appears to be no result in the loss or damage of natural, scenic, or historical features of major importance. The action required is to approve, modify, or deny the applicant's request for conditional use in case number 5-20-A, requesting relief to sections 422.1 through 2, A through I of the zoning resolution, as to authorize for the use of a woodworking operation and accessory building in the R1 single-family residential district based on the evidence, testimonies, and findings of facts.
All right, is there anybody to speak in favor of this proposal? Step up. State your name and spell your last name.
Doug Adams, A-D-A-M-S.
When you raise your right hand, you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
As far as the concerns on noise, disturbance to the neighbors, the dust collection I use is just a small 2-bag unit. It's 2 horsepower. It's like standing. It's no louder than your home vacuum cleaner. The neighbor has one in his garage for his hobby stuff. Any finishing we do is low VOC. You know, you don't. I wear a mask when I'm doing it, but it's not necessarily required. For us to be able to move this closer to home, it opens up a lot of goals for us as far as family life. We've got 2 kids. We'd like to add to that through either foster or adoption, which was the whole idea behind trying to get me closer to home. Do you guys have any specific questions or concerns with the report that you'd like me to address or answer?
Questions from the board?
We're the Board of Appeals.
Mm-hmm.
The appeal to be made when folks come before this board is for permission, not forgiveness. The reason I say that is because we're having a little bit of a rash of folks coming here having already done what they're actually asking permission for. Do you feel you're in a position to ask for permission or forgiveness at this point?
It's forgiveness at this point.
Okay. There's several things, if you were paying attention to the staff commentary there, that having asked for permission beforehand would have served you really well, right? Primary among them being the size of the building. It's practically double what is actually in our code. And that creates a significant challenge for us, because what we do here, we don't just do because we want to be nice to people. We do. The challenge is what we do, the decisions we make set precedents, which means that what we allow has reason for us to continue to allow it moving forward. And this is where the board is finding ourselves, if I'm understanding everyone right, and I believe I do, this is presenting more than a little bit of a challenge for us. And so I think we need to have discussion of the board, and, because I'm not willing to make a motion to approve this in any way right now. I wish I could say differently, but we have to bear in mind that we're making decisions that have an impact on the future, not just on the present. And this is a pretty big deal. It may not seem like it, but it is. And if anyone thinks differently, then I'm willing to listen to that. But if not, then I'm willing to make a motion to deny this request. Does anyone have a good reason why I should be swayed to think differently?
Do we want to close this and do a discussion of board?
The proper, yes, I mean, the proper order of the meeting would be, if there's no other public testimony for or against, I think that then that would be the time to
Yeah.
close the public portion of the hearing.
Yeah.
And then,
Did you want to speak to it?
I would just be saying the same.
Then I think we should close this and go to the discussion of the board.
okay.
So this is only the first of two, though. This is just for the
Yep.
conditional use, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
And if I may, for the board's edification, or just to let you guys know, so both of these applications came in concurrently with one another. You know, we really didn't order them in one particular fashion or the other, but in this case, the conditional use is the first item for consideration for the board. They're really, the applications are sort of,
They're intertwined,
they're
for sure.
intertwined, yes, so, but I think procedurally, we have to hear each application, so.
Mr. Hanrahan?
This request does not meet the requirements of section 622, which defines what conditional uses are allowed in
I
the
agree.
R1 district. And 624.1 specifically says any use which is not specifically permitted is prohibited. So I don't really think we have the authority to grant a conditional use like this in this district. I also would say that it's a commercial business activity and it's prohibited other than home office. It's not compliant with sections 442(2)A or 442(2)B. So I don't really think we have much of a choice but deny it, actually.
I would tend to agree with you.
I do too.
Just
Well, Brian, I think you've got your answer. If you want to make a motion.
Well, I'll make a motion then. I make a motion to deny the applicant's request for conditional use in case number 5-20-A, requesting release from sections 422.1-2, A through I of the Union Township zoning resolution, as to authorize the use of woodworking operations as an accessory building in the R1 single-family residential district, based on the evidence, testimony, and finding of fact.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call?
Roll call, Mr. Ford,
Aye.
Mr. Walker,
Aye.
Mr. Cangro,
Aye.
Mr. Hanrahan,
Aye.
and Mr. James.
Aye.
Motion carried.
You read it first, was it Mr. Ford?
Alrighty, the second case we have tonight is 620-A. Same applicants, Douglas and Catherine Adams, located at 1323 Old State Route 74. They're requesting relief from sections 624.1, 711.1, 711.5, and 801.5 of the zoning resolution in order to allow for the completion of construction of a 40-foot by 32-foot addition onto an existing 672 square foot garage discovered via inspection and resulting in zoning citations to a height of 16 feet as measured from grade and resulting in a combined total accessory building of 1,952 square feet if approved within the R1 single family residential district. This request also includes requests to waive paving requirements for the driveway to the structure. This request was submitted concurrently with the conditional use home occupation request by the applicant, which was heard just before. Again, some background information. They have the planned addition consisting of 40 feet by 32 feet onto the existing 620 square foot structure. The applicants state that the zoning resolution imposes a hardship due to the size of their home. The applicants also the limitation on the residentially zoned parcel. Review of this application indicates that the variance is nearly a threefold increase in the overall area of the existing building. Within the R1 district, the height variance is less of a concern due to the parcel configuration and the lot area on this property. After reviewing the proposed variance requested submitted by the applicant, the following observations can be made. The granting of this variance appears to be incongruent with the purpose and intent of the zoning resolution because the building was constructed with the purpose of housing commercial woodworking shop. The proposed variance may result in an establishment of a use not otherwise permitted within the R1 district. The variance may allow for other uses regardless of the applicant's pending conditional use to be established, giving the larger floor area and clear height. The larger lot area may justify a larger accessory structure, but the proposed square footage will net a 100% increase over the allowable 25% standard considered by the board. The proposed variance will not impede light nor air given the parcel acreage and configuration of the present proposed structure, and it is not clear whether the variance will confer special privileges or benefits to the applicants that are not otherwise afforded to the other property owners within the R1 district. The action required is to approve, modify, or deny the applicant's request for variance in case number 6-20-A, requesting relief to sections 624.1, 711.1, 711.5, and 801.5 of the zoning resolution as to authorize the completion of construction of a 40-foot by 32-foot addition to an existing 672 square foot shed to a height of 16 feet as measured from grade, and resulting in a combined total accessory building area of 1,952 square feet if approved within the R1 single family residential district. This request also indicates a relief to waive paving requirements for the driveway to the structure based on evidence, testimonies, and findings of facts.
Would you like to speak to that? Realizing you're still under oath.
Sorry?
You're still under oath.
I don't want to waste everybody's time, to be honest. So, the building was for the business, so if the business, has been denied, the natural order of things is. So, if you guys have questions or comments that you'd like responded to, I'd be happy to do so, but.
I think we still need to make a determination because the building is 80% completed and
Right.
something needs to be done one way or the other.
Right.
Well, I think maybe we should deny it and let him reapply for a smaller building, if he wants to do that.
I'm prepared to make a motion.
Okay, Mr. Hanran?
Before you do that, motion.
I got a long-winded one.
Can I ask let me ask you
Yeah,
another
yeah.
question. The measurements that are on, and I drove out and looked from a neighboring property, but the measurements for the new portion of the building, are those, do those include the overhang? Or is that in addition to the 40 feet and like how big is it wall to wall?
Yeah, that is wall to wall. There's a 12-inch eave. Is that what you're asking?
Okay.
So
We,
it's just difficult. I understand. It's difficult because of previous cases and future cases to approve anything more than, it's been 5 years, and I think the largest we ever did was 30% greater than the allowed.
yeah,
But if you could reapply and somehow make it
yeah.
close,
An
then
adjustment
I
could
don't-
be made. The existing, the previous existing building, if that was removed or something to get this size.
If,
But, listen, we're not trying to crush your dreams.
know.
We're trying to figure out a way to do what we can. You've put a lot of work into this, but we're in a tough situation. Are you suggesting that your motion is in any way?
I would not approve this. I would want to see it reapplied for.
Yes. Is that where you're going?
That's where I'm going.
All right, brother.
And there's a couple of other things that I think need to be addressed, because the application is asking for variances from 210, 260, 624.1, and 711.1, and 801.5. Some of which were not even addressed in the staff notes.
Correct.
I can address that, Mr. Hanrahan. The 200 sections involve the,
Yeah, I know what they involve.
yeah, it's the permit, you need to secure zoning permits and penalties and fines. And so really, those were not addressed, because I don't know that it's possible to technically grant variances from enforcement. Now, that being said, we can stay enforcement by virtue of a hearing, which the process does that, and it has stayed that enforcement action. I don't know that, and again, the applicant doesn't, they don't do that every day, so, I also addressed, there was some ambiguity in the application regarding the paving requirement. They stated that they would pave, but then I also sought a variance from the paving, which I think what they're looking at is they're looking at their citation that they have, which has every relevant section that they would be under citation for listed there. Really, for what they're asking for are the sections that are addressed in the staff report regarding the specifics of the building structure, conditional use, et cetera.
Well, my motion will specifically address some of those things.
Do you have anything to
It's,
add?
I said it's long-winded, and it is. I move to deny the applicant's request for variance in case 620A, requesting relief from sections 210, 260, 624.1, 711.1, and 801.5 of the Union Township zoning resolution as to authorize the completion of construction of a 40 by 32 foot addition to an existing 672 square foot shed to a height of 16 feet as measured from grade, and resulting in a combined total accessory building area of 1,952 square feet, and a waiver of the paving requirement for driveway to the structure, if approved within the R1 single-family residential district, because first, it is the judgment of this board that it does not have the authority to grant variance to section 210. Also, it is the judgment of the board that it does not have the authority to grant variance to section 260. Next, the requested variance to section 711.1 substantially exceeds the provisions of section 434.8. Next, the application does not include a request for a variance from section 711.5 for height. The application does not meet the application standards for variance in section 431, such that subparagraph 5A is not in accord with the general purpose and intent of the regulations imposed by the resolution. Section 431.5B, the variance would establish a use not otherwise permitted. Section 431.5C, there is no deprivation of beneficial use. Section 431.5D, there is no hardship other than a self-created financial one. Section 431.5E, the variance is not required for reasonable use. And section 431.5G, the granting of the variance would confer special privilege that is denied to others in the same district, based on the evidence, testimony, and findings of fact.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Aye. So, is that Mr. Cangro with the second?
We have a motion and a second, roll call.
A roll call, Mr. Hanahan,
Aye.
Mr. Cangro,
Aye.
Mr. Ford,
Aye.
Mr. Walker,
Aye.
and Mr. Jang.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, both motions have been denied. What they were saying is if you want to reapply for a smaller building, which will comply with the resolution, you may do so.
Okay, if we decide to just take it down and move it elsewhere, do we then just let you guys know when it's off the property and?
That will be through the inspection process and just working through our zoning inspector in my office,
So just contact your office with
yes,
what you want
about
to do.
the compliance period and all that, and moving forward and how to address that, okay?
Okay.
Is there anything else come before the board?
I have no further business, Mr. Flouty.
No, sir.
Hearing
Motion to
none,
adjourn?
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.
7:26.